This podcast is sponsored by the book, A Mostly Magnificent Memoir, by Bo Bennett, a hilarious, heartfelt glimpse into growing up in the 80s. Grab your copy at thestoryofbo.com.
Synth-Pop's electrifying impact on 1980s music and culture. Discover how synth-pop revolutionized 1980s music, fashion, and pop culture with its futuristic sounds and unforgettable style. The electrifying pulse of synth-pop and its radical impact on 1980s music. Hey, so have you ever found yourself humming a tune like Take On Me by A-ha or blasting Depeche Mode's Just Can't Get Enough while pretending your living room is a neon-lit dance floor? Yeah, me too. There's just something about 80s music that sticks with you, right? And if you've ever wondered what made that decade's tune so uniquely catchy and emotionally charged, well, buddy, strap in because it was the magic of synth-pop that really flipped the music scene on its head. Picture this. It's the early 1980s, and music is evolving faster than a Rubik's Cube champion solving the cube, which BTW was also super 80s. Before synth-pop, rock bands with guitars and drums dominated the airwaves. Then synthesizers, these futuristic keyboards that made music sound like it came straight from a sci-fi movie, started crashing the party. Suddenly, musicians weren't just strumming their guitars anymore. They were weaving electronic sounds that felt both alien and strangely emotional. Synth-pop was more than just a genre, it was a revolution. Bands like New Order, Human League, and Eurythmics took synthesizers and drum machines and transformed them into pop poetry. The sound was sleek, robotic, yet undeniably human. You know that cool tension when a song sounds like it's from a robot disco, but you still want to dance like you're at your best friend's birthday party? That's synth-pop's genius. Let's talk about why synth-pop was such a massive deal. First, it made music production accessible. Before this, you needed a full band, expensive instruments, and maybe a studio the size of a football field to get that hit sound. But electronic instruments and sequencers allowed solo artists to create entire songs on their own or small teams to craft new vibes in smaller studios. This democratization of music shaped a lot of 1980s pop culture and opened the doors for all kinds of weird, wonderful, and danceable experiments. Now, aside from the epic synth riffs and catchy choruses, synth-pop also smuggled in a lot of emotion underneath its shiny exterior. Take a song like Enjoy the Silence by Depeche Mode, cool and robotic on the surface, but layered with deep, almost existential lyrics. It's like the music was whispering, hey, even though we're from the future with blinking lights and sounds you've never heard, we're still human beneath it all. And don't get me started on how synth-pop reshaped 1980s fashion and aesthetics. The music videos for synth-pop anthems often showcased the wildest hairstyles, bold colors, and oversized sunglasses that perfectly complemented the electronic soundscape. These bands were the original 80s celebrities, with their flashy looks making just as much noise as their synths. Whether it was the androgynous style of Annie Lennox or the neon and leather combos of Duran Duran, synth-pop gave us a visual style that screamed future forward with a pinch of rebellion. It wasn't just music and fashion getting a makeover. Synth-pop also fit perfectly into 80s movies and 80s TV shows. Think about The Breakfast Club, where the vibe of synth and electronic music sets a mood more than any dialogue. Or Miami Vice, where the sleek electronic soundtrack gave that show its cool and stylish edge. It was all part of this cultural web that made the 80s feel like a retro futuristic playground. And here's a little trivia nugget. The Roland TR-808 drum machine and the Yamaha DX7 synthesizer basically became pop stars themselves. Those instruments showed up in tons of chart toppers and are still sampled in today's music more than you might realize. So next time you hear a catchy beat or a futuristic twinkle in a tune, you're probably hearing the echo of an 80s synth-pop legend. Honestly, the best way to soak up all this retro goodness is to not just listen to the music, but to fully embrace the vibe of the 1980s. The 1980s pop culture, the cheesy hairdos, the dramatic neon lights, and that inexhaustible enthusiasm for anything bold and new. If you want a nostalgic trip with a heartwarming twist, I've got a fantastic recommendation. Check out A Mostly Magnificent Memoir. It's a fun and heartwarming story of a kid from a small town growing up in the 1980s. soaking in the sights, sounds, and craziness of the era that gave us all these amazing cultural gems. Synth-pop wasn't just a bunch of shiny laser sounds. It was a lifestyle, a cultural shift, and honestly, one of the coolest chapters in the crazy scrapbook of music history. So next time you throw on your acid-wash jeans and crank up that retro playlist, remember, it all started with a keyboard, a drum machine, and a dream for a new kind of sound. Now excuse me while I go build my own air guitar synth solo. Rock on, 80s style.